Welcome to this new video. If you'd like to support me, don't forget to leave a like and a comment. In a forest older than memory, home to sylvan spirits and secrets whispered by the wind, stood the village of Leothric. The houses with wooden beams and frames and thatched roofs green with moss seemed almost like part of the forest itself. The peace, however, was disturbed. Creeping nightmares slithered among the houses, seizing minds during sleep and leading the inhabitants into desolate lands amidst the flames of hell. Then the wizard realized that the source of the evil was Gaznak, a powerful sorcerer riding a comet, who every 230 years raised an impregnable fortress and fed on the dreams of men. Then the wizard realized that the source of the evil was Gaznak, a powerful sorcerer riding a comet, who every 230 years raised an impregnable fortress and fed on the dreams of men. The villagers were desperate, and Leothric, a young man of pure heart and bold spirit, son of Lord Dunsany, asked the wizard if there was a solution. The wizard replied that hope lay in a sword that had not yet been forged, named Sacnoth. The blade lay beneath the skin of the dragon crocodile Tharagatharug, guarding its spine. To obtain it, one had to defeat the beast, melt its metallic hide in a furnace, and sharpen the sword with one of its eyes. Killing it, however, was nearly impossible. The dragon had skin of iron and steel, could not drown or burn, and the only solution was to deprive it of food for 3 days, after which it would die of starvation. The monster's snout, however, was sensitive to hazelnut wood, and the surface layer of its skin was not metallic. A skilled warrior could repeatedly strike it with a club, driving it away from its prey, the men. Leothric accepted the dangerous task. The next morning at dawn, after waking from troubled dreams, the warrior set out, crossing the forest toward the swamps that lay at its edges. When he emerged from the vegetation, the sun was above the horizon, shining on pools of water in the desolate land. Following the tracks, he heard ahead of him the bronze heart of the dragon crocodile resounding like a bell. It was surely near and hunting for a meal. Tharagatharug emerged from the shadows, heading toward a nearby village, and Leothric, gathering his courage, confronted it, placing himself between the beast and its prey. He struck its snout with all his strength using the hazelnut club, and the creature recoiled. With agility and courage, for 3 days and 3 nights, he dodged the beast's attacks and tormented it with the staff, preventing it from feeding and driving it away from the villages. At sunset on the 3rd day, Tharagatharug, exhausted by hunger, breathed its last. In Leothric, the blacksmith melted the armor, revealing Sacnoth. With the beast's eye, he sharpened the blade and handed it to Leothric, who the following morning set off toward Gaznak's fortress. Leothric emerged from the forest and found himself facing the no-man's land. It was a desolate landscape, dominated by treacherous swamps. In the midst of that emptiness, Gaznak's fortress rose, imposing and menacing. Having crossed the swamp, he found himself before the colossal entrance gate. The face carved in black iron, which seemed to emerge from the deepest darkness, commanded him to halt. "This is the invincible fortress, save for Sacnoth," it thundered. But when Leothric drew the mighty blade, which seemed to emit a celestial song, the great gate appeared terrified and slowly opened, letting him pass. Crossing the threshold, Leothric found himself in a world of shadows and silence. The air was heavy, thick with an ancient, almost metallic scent. As he cautiously advanced through a dark corridor, interrupted only by cobwebs as thick as sheets, a deep guttural voice broke the silence. "Who dares to profane my kingdom of silk?" After making his way through the webs, Leothric arrived in a grand hall where a gigantic black spider emerged from the shadows, its eyes filled with sin and malice. The grotesque insect tried to ensnare Leothric with a web as strong as steel, but Sacnoth danced through the air, cutting it with a silent hiss. Recognizing the legendary sword, the spider fled, perching on a high beam and growling. Continuing onward, he found himself in a long, well-lit hall, at the far end of which queens and princes were feasting. Thousands of candles glowed all around, their light reflecting in the wine the princes drank, in the enormous golden chandeliers, and on the radiant royal faces, on the white tablecloth, on the silver dishes, and on the jewels in the queen's hair. Between the table and the door stood dozens of foot soldiers arranged in 2 rows. One of the princes directed a question to a soldier, and the question passed from one to another until it reached the last, the one closest to Leothric. "What do you seek here?" "I am hunting Gaznak, and I will face him with Sacnoth," the warrior replied. The soldiers in the same manner relayed the news to the nobles who, upon hearing the name of the legendary sword, stunned, rose from the banquet and fled along with all the foot soldiers, leaving the hall deserted. The next hall housed beautiful and enchanting women. They asked the warrior about his mission and then pleaded with him to stay among them, saying that Gaznak was immortal, save for Sacnoth, and that they needed a knight to protect them from the wolves. Perhaps Leothric might have been tempted to stay if they had been human women, but he noticed that in place of eyes they had small flames flickering, and he left them, recognizing them as the feverish dreams of Gaznak. Continuing his journey through the fortress, the warrior sensed the approach of darkness and the abyss. In some halls it was possible to see chasms leading toward flames or stars, and nameless creatures dwelling within them. Before a grand black colonnade, Sacnoth began to vibrate and glowed with a blue light. In the chamber hung the heavy, damp scent of a great beast, which revealed itself to be Bongarok, Gaznak's last and most loyal guard, a powerful creature covered in spines. The dragon knew well that it now faced Sacnoth, for it had been its habit to silently prophesy to itself for many years while lying crouched near Gaznak. Leothric advanced through the gust of its breath and raised Sacnoth to strike. At the same moment, the dragon attacked with its lethal tail. Sacnoth knew that before striking, the tail had to be stopped, and so it acted. Having parried the attack, the legendary blade brought down the beast. It was the final obstacle. The next door would bring him face to face with Gaznak. When he opened it, he found himself outdoors in a wide, marble-paved courtyard. At its center, seated on his throne, the sorcerer slept. Behind him lay the infinite abyss, where the dreams he had stolen from men took form. Upon Leothric's arrival, Gaznak opened his eyes. He took up the most powerful sword in the world, save for Sacnoth, and stood. The two adversaries attacked simultaneously, and their swords clashed, recognizing each other. The sorcerer's armor was invulnerable, infused with the power of stolen dreams. The only way to kill Gaznak was to decapitate him. But with a spell, he could detach his head from his neck just before the strike landed. Sacnoth, coordinating with Leothric, acted swiftly. They severed the sorcerer's hand, preventing him from casting his spell, and with a clean, rapid blow, they decapitated him, ending his power. A great earthquake struck the land. Winds lashed against the black rock walls of Gaznak's fortress, and everything began to crumble, including the sorcerer's majestic dreams. That devastation ultimately left only a cosmic void. A great earthquake struck the land. Winds lashed against the black rock walls of Gaznak's fortress, and everything began to crumble, including the sorcerer's majestic dreams. That devastation ultimately